The Bermuda Triangle, a name that sends shivers down spines and sparks endless debate. This area of the North Atlantic Ocean, often depicted as a triangular region with points in Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has long been shrouded in mystery. For centuries, tales of unexplained maritime disappearances have circulated, whispering of ships vanishing without a trace. Sailors spoke of strange compass malfunctions and sudden violent storms. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle grew with each unexplained event. Writers spun tales of supernatural forces, magnetic anomalies, and even underwater civilizations. The region became a notorious danger zone, a place where logic seemed to vanish with the ships and planes swallowed by its depths. The disappearances were often blamed on unpredictable weather patterns, human error, or pirates. However, these explanations did little to quell the growing unease surrounding the region. The Bermuda Triangle, it seemed, held a powerful grip on the human imagination. Then, in 1945, an event occurred that would forever cement the Bermuda Triangle's place in popular culture. A routine training flight, Flight 19, vanished without a trace, leaving behind a chilling mystery and a legacy that continues to fascinate and perplex. December 5th, 1945, dawned like any other day at Naval Air Station, Fort Lauderdale. The sun glinted off the waters of the Atlantic, and a gentle breeze swept across the tarmac. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, their wings gleaming in the sunlight, stood ready for a routine training mission. This was Flight 19, and at the helm was Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, a seasoned pilot with an impressive record. Taylor and his crew were not embarking on a daring combat mission or a long-distance journey into the unknown. Their task was simple: a navigational training flight over familiar waters. They would fly east from the Florida coast, conduct simulated bombing runs at a location known as Hens and Chickens Shoals, then turn north for a final leg over Grand Bahama Island before returning to base. The weather forecast was favorable, with only a few scattered showers predicted. It was a routine flight, a chance for the pilots to hone their skills and for the aircraft to stretch their wings. There was no hint of the mystery that was about to unfold, no shadow of the chilling events that would make Flight 19 a legend. As the 5 Avengers roared down the runway and lifted into the clear blue sky, they carried with them the hopes and dreams of 14 men. They were fathers, sons, brothers, friends. Ordinary men living ordinary lives, unaware that they were about to become forever entwined with the enigma of the Bermuda Triangle. The initial stages of Flight 19's journey unfolded without incident. The 5 Avengers flew in formation, their engines humming as they soared above the sparkling waters of the Atlantic. The crews, veterans of countless hours in the air, went through their pre-flight checks and settled into the rhythm of the mission. The first leg of the flight took them eastward, away from the Florida coastline and toward the open ocean. The sun beat down on the cockpits, and the gentle rocking of the aircraft lulled the men into a sense of normalcy. They were surrounded by the vastness of the sea, yet they were connected to the world by the radio waves crackling with messages from other aircraft and the control tower back at the base. Reaching Hens and Chickens Shoals, the pilots commenced their simulated bombing runs. With practiced precision, they maneuvered their aircraft, imagining enemy targets below and honing their skills for a conflict that many hoped was behind them. The dull thuds of practice bombs hitting the water echoed across the waves, a testament to their training and expertise. As the last bomb splashed into the sea, marking the completion of the first phase of their mission, the men of Flight 19 turned their aircraft northward. The sun was beginning its descent, casting long shadows across the waves, but the mood in the cockpits remained light. They were halfway through their training flight, and so far everything had gone according to plan. They were veterans, professionals, and the vast expanse of the Atlantic held no fear for them. They had no reason to believe that the routine mission was about to take a terrifying turn. With the simulated bombing runs successfully completed, Flight 19 turned northward, commencing the second leg of their training mission. Their route would take them over a stretch of open ocean before they reached the familiar shores of Grand Bahama Island. The sun, now beginning its westward descent, cast long shadows across the waves, painting the sea in hues of orange and gold. Inside the cockpits, the crews settled into the routine of long-distance flight. The roar of the engines provided a constant backdrop as the pilots monitored their instruments, checking their course and altitude. They were experienced aviators, accustomed to the challenges of navigating vast stretches of open water. The vastness of the Atlantic held no fear for them. Lieutenant Taylor, a stick of gum tucked into the corner of his mouth, studied the charts spread out before him. He had flown this route countless times before, his mind mapping out the invisible pathways in the sky. The sun, now a fiery orb dipping towards the horizon, served as his guide, a celestial compass confirming their northward trajectory. As the miles ticked by, a sense of calm pervaded the cockpits. The men chatted casually over the radio, their voices a comforting counterpoint to the drone of the engines. They joked about their upcoming leave, shared stories of their families back home, and reveled in the camaraderie that came from sharing a common purpose, a shared love for the freedom of flight. They were veterans, professionals, and the vast expanse of the Atlantic held no fear for them. The sun continued its descent, casting long shadows across the waves. The once clear blue sky began to take on a hazy, almost milky appearance. A few scattered clouds, previously mere wisps of white against the azure expanse, gathered on the horizon, their edges tinged with an ominous grey. Inside the lead Avenger, Lieutenant Taylor noticed a subtle shift in the wind. The gentle breeze that had accompanied them for most of the flight began to pick up, its whispers transforming into a low growl. He glanced at his instruments, his brow furrowing slightly as he noted a slight fluctuation in the compass readings. Taylor adjusted his course slightly, compensating for what he assumed was a temporary anomaly. He had encountered unpredictable weather patterns before, and his instincts told him that this was nothing out of the ordinary. Still, a prickle of unease ran down his spine, a feeling he couldn't quite shake off. He reached for the radio, his thumb hovering over the transmit button. He hesitated for a moment, not wanting to alarm his crew or the other pilots. They were on a routine training mission after all, and there was no need to cause unnecessary concern. But as the wind continued to pick up and the clouds on the horizon grew darker, Taylor's unease intensified. Something didn't feel right. "Flight 19 to Tower, do you read me?" Taylor's voice, though calm and steady, betrayed a hint of tension. He repeated the message, his words swallowed by the increasing static crackling through the radio. Minutes passed, each one stretching into an eternity as the silence from the tower stretched on. A wave of unease washed over the crews of Flight 19. The once comforting drone of the engines now seemed louder, more insistent, as the aircraft bucked against the strengthening wind. The sun, now hidden behind a thick curtain of clouds, cast an eerie, almost twilight glow across the churning waves below. "Tower, this is Flight 19. We seem to be off course, unable to locate land." Taylor's words, clipped and professional, did little to mask the growing concern in his voice. He scanned the horizon, his eyes searching for a familiar landmark, a beacon in the growing darkness. But there was nothing but the endless expanse of the churning, storm-tossed sea. The other pilots of Flight 19 echoed Taylor's concerns, their voices tight with apprehension as they reported their own difficulties maintaining their bearings. The once orderly formation began to falter, the aircraft buffeted by the increasingly powerful winds. The once routine training mission had taken a sinister turn, and the men of Flight 19 found themselves adrift in a nightmare, their fate hanging precariously in the balance. Static crackled through the headphones of the radio operators at Fort Lauderdale's flight tower. The once routine chatter of training exercises had given way to an unnerving silence, punctuated only by the hiss and pop of atmospheric interference. Minutes stretched into an eternity as they strained to hear any sign of Flight 19, their eyes glued to the radar screens that offered no solace, no blip of light indicating the missing aircraft. The initial concern morphed into a gnawing dread as the realization dawned that something was terribly wrong. The experienced pilots of Flight 19, veterans of countless hours in the air, wouldn't simply vanish without a trace. The weather, while turning sour, wasn't severe enough to account for their sudden and complete silence. Then through the static, a faint transmission crackled through. It was Lieutenant Taylor's voice, but it was strained, laced with a confusion that sent chills down the spines of those who heard it. "Cannot see land." His voice echoed through the tower, each word heavy with a growing sense of dread. We seemed to be off course. The radio operators scrambled to respond, their voices tight with urgency as they tried to ascertain Flight 19's position, to offer reassurance and guidance. But their questions were met with more confusion, more frantic pronouncements of disorientation. "We cannot be sure where we are." Taylor's voice came back, the calm professionalism he'd exhibited earlier replaced by a chilling uncertainty. "Repeat, cannot see land." Inside the cockpit of the lead Avenger, Lieutenant Taylor fought to maintain his composure. The once familiar world outside his windshield had transformed into a disorienting dreamscape. The horizon obscured by a thick blanket of clouds, the sea below a churning mass of grey-green fury. His compass, once a steadfast guide, spun erratically, its needle dancing a dizzying jig as if mocking his attempts to regain his bearings. The instruments, usually reliable indicators of their position and altitude, offered no solace, their readings fluctuating wildly, painting a picture of chaos and confusion. He tried to raise the tower, his words swallowed by the static that seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. He could hear the frantic calls of his fellow pilots, their voices tight with a mixture of fear and confusion, as they reported their own difficulties maintaining their bearings, their own struggles to make sense of the disorienting situation. The once orderly formation, a testament to their training and discipline, dissolved into a haphazard scattering of aircraft, each pilot fighting to maintain control as the wind buffeted their wings, the storm seeming to conspire against their every attempt to escape its clutches. Doubt gnawed at the edges of Taylor's resolve, the chilling realization dawning that they were hopelessly lost, adrift in a nightmare of their own making. A wave of static momentarily subsided, and through the crackling interference, a new voice emerged. It wasn't Taylor, but one of the other pilots, his voice trembling with a fear that was palpable, even through the distorted transmission. "We can't find west," the voice reported, each word heavy with a growing sense of despair. "Everything is wrong. We can't be sure of any direction. Everything looks strange, even the ocean." The tower operators clung to every word, their hearts pounding in their chests as they tried to decipher the garbled message, to glean any clue that might lead them to Flight 19. But the transmission was fragmented, punctuated by bursts of static and the panicked shouts of the pilots as they struggled to maintain control of their aircraft. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the voice vanished, swallowed once more by the relentless static. The tower operators desperately tried to re-establish contact, their calls met with an eerie silence that seemed to amplify the growing sense of dread. Minutes stretched into an agonizing eternity, each tick of the clock a hammer blow to the hopes of those who waited and prayed for a miracle. Then through the static, a faint signal, a beacon of hope in the growing darkness. It was the voice of the pilot who had spoken earlier, but this time it was different. It was the voice of a man teetering on the brink, a man who had looked into the abyss and found it staring back. The radio in the tower crackled back to life, a brief reprieve from the oppressive silence. The voice that emerged was not Taylor's authoritative tone, but a shaky, hesitant voice, strained with fear and exhaustion. It was another pilot from Flight 19, his words painting a chilling picture of their desperate situation. "We can't tell where we are." The voice trembled, barely audible above the static. Each word was punctuated by the roar of wind and the drone of engines struggling to maintain altitude. The pilot's fear was palpable, his voice echoing the chaos that had enveloped Flight 19. "Everything is—" The voice trailed off, swallowed by a burst of static. The operators in the tower leaned closer to their speakers, straining to hear, their faces etched with a mixture of concern and helplessness. The fragmented transmission offered no clues to their location, no indication of what had gone so terribly wrong. Then, as quickly as it had disappeared, the voice returned, laced with a frantic energy, a desperate plea for guidance. "Can't make out anything. We think we may be about 225 miles northeast of base." The words tumbled out in a rush, a jumbled stream of consciousness that spoke volumes about their disorientation, their desperate struggle to make sense of a situation spiraling out of control. Command in chaos. Back in the storm-tossed skies above the Atlantic, confusion reigned. Lieutenant Taylor, his usual confidence shaken, fought to regain control of the situation. His compass spun uselessly, the instruments flickered erratically, and the storm seemed to mock their every attempt to escape its clutches. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, the lives of his crew, his men, entrusted to his judgment. But the situation defied logic, defied explanation. The familiar world of flight, of charts and compasses and radio beacons, had dissolved into a terrifying dreamscape where nothing was certain, where every decision seemed fraught with peril. He could hear the fear in the voices of his men, their calls growing increasingly frantic as the storm raged around them. Doubts gnawed at him, whispers of his own mortality, but he pushed them aside, clinging to the hope that somehow they could find their way out of this nightmare. Then, through the chaos, a realization dawned. He was responsible for these men, for their lives, and he was failing them. His usual clarity of thought, the sharp instincts that had saved him countless times before, seemed to have deserted him. He knew with a sinking certainty that he was no longer the best man to lead them out of this. The final transmission. With a heavy heart, Taylor made a decision. He relinquished command to another pilot, a man younger, perhaps with fresher instincts. A glimmer of hope in a situation that seemed increasingly desperate. It was a decision born of desperation, a last-ditch effort to save his men from the fate he feared awaited them. The radio crackled back to life, the new leader's voice a stark contrast to Taylor's fading strength. But even in this new voice, there was a tremor of fear, a hint of hysteria that spoke volumes about their dire circumstances. They were lost, adrift in a storm that seemed to have swallowed them whole, their world reduced to the confines of their storm-tossed cockpits. Then came the final message, a chilling whisper from the heart of the storm. "It looks like we are entering white water." The words, barely audible above the roar of wind and the static, sent shivers down the spines of those who heard them. White water, not the familiar blue-green of the open ocean, but something different, something alien and terrifying. "We're completely lost." The words hung in the air, a final, desperate plea for salvation. Then silence. The radio, once a lifeline to the world, fell silent. The only sound, the hiss and crackle of static, a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that held Flight 19 captive. The men in the tower stared at their instruments in disbelief, their hopes dwindling with each passing second. Flight 19, once a beacon in the sky, had vanished without a trace, swallowed by the storm and the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. A race against time. As the chilling silence from Flight 19 stretched on, a frantic race against time commenced. At Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, the atmosphere crackled with a tense energy as crews scrambled to launch a rescue mission. Every second counted, every minute that passed, diminishing the hopes of finding the missing airmen alive. 2 PBM Mariner flying boats, their massive wings dwarfing the other aircraft on the tarmac, were prepped for takeoff. These lumbering giants, designed for long-range maritime patrols and rescue operations, were the best hope for locating Flight 19 and bringing its crew home safely. Inside the cockpits, The rescue crews went through their pre-flight checks with a focused intensity. The weight of responsibility pressed down on them, the knowledge that the lives of their fellow airmen hung in the balance. The storm that had swallowed Flight 19 still raged, but it was a risk they were willing to take, a testament to the unwavering camaraderie that bound those who dared to challenge the skies. As the engines of the Mariners roared to life, their propellers churning the air into a frenzy, a collective prayer went up from those who watched from below. The massive aircraft lumbered down the runway, their wings heavy with the hopes and fears of a community holding its breath, clinging to the belief that their boys could still be found, that this nightmare could still have a happy ending. Vanished without a trace. The Mariners, their hulls painted a bright orange for visibility, battled their way through the storm, their crews scanning the turbulent waters for any sign of Flight 19. The wind buffeted the aircraft, tossing them about like toys, but the pilots pressed on, their determination fueled by a desperate hope that they could still avert tragedy. They flew towards Flight 19's last known position, their powerful searchlights cutting through the gloom, illuminating the churning waves. The radio crackled with messages from other ships and aircraft that had joined the search, a desperate chorus of calls and responses that echoed the growing fear that time was running out. Then, just 10 minutes into the search, one of the Mariners, call sign PBM 5, radioed in. They were experiencing difficulties, they reported, their position becoming increasingly precarious as the storm intensified. They were turning back, they announced, their voices tight with a tension that spoke volumes about the perilous conditions. It was a decision born of necessity, a bitter pill to swallow, but they had no choice. To continue would be to risk the lives of their own crew. As the minutes ticked by, the operators in the tower waited anxiously for PBM 5 to re-establish contact, to confirm their safe return. But the radio remained stubbornly silent. The only sound, the hiss and crackle of static, a chilling echo of the fate that had befallen Flight 19. The unthinkable had happened. Another aircraft, another group of brave men had vanished without a trace. A sea of emptiness. For 5 long days and nights the search continued. Ships and aircraft scoured a vast expanse of the Atlantic, their crews driven by a desperate hope, a refusal to give up on their missing comrades. The Coast Guard, the Navy, civilian volunteers, all united in a common purpose, their efforts a testament to the enduring bonds of brotherhood forged in the crucible of service. They searched tirelessly, their determination unwavering. Despite the diminishing odds, their spirits buoyed by the belief that somewhere, out there in the vast expanse of the sea, there might be a sign, a clue, anything that could lead them to the missing airmen. But the sea, as vast and unforgiving as ever, held its secrets close. Days turned into nights, and still there was nothing. No wreckage, no life rafts, no bodies. The search parties returned to base, their faces etched with exhaustion and disappointment, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they had failed to bring their comrades home. The official search for Flight 19 was eventually called off, the missing airmen presumed lost at sea. The families of the missing clung to hope, their hearts refusing to accept the finality of it all. But as the days turned into weeks, then months, then years, the painful truth settled in. Flight 19 and the men who flew her had vanished without a trace, swallowed by the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. The enigma of error, navigational mishaps, and human fallibility. The disappearance of Flight 19, like many other incidents attributed to the Bermuda Triangle, has sparked a plethora of theories ranging from the plausible to the downright fantastical. One of the most enduring explanations centers around the possibility of human error, a chilling reminder that even the most experienced aviators are not immune to the fallibility of human judgment. Navigational errors, especially in the days before sophisticated GPS systems, were a constant threat to pilots. The vastness of the ocean, the lack of visual landmarks, and the unpredictable nature of weather patterns could easily conspire to lead even seasoned navigators astray. A slight miscalculation, a momentary lapse in concentration could have cascading consequences, turning a routine flight into a desperate struggle for survival. Some theories propose that Lieutenant Taylor might have misidentified the islands they flew over, leading them further and further off course. The similarity in appearance of some of the islands in the Bahamas, coupled with the deteriorating weather conditions, could have created a recipe for confusion, blurring the lines between the familiar and the unknown. Others speculate that Taylor, despite his experience, might have fallen victim to spatial disorientation, a phenomenon that can affect even the most seasoned pilots. With the horizon obscured by clouds and the compass behaving erratically, he might have lost his bearings, his senses betraying him, leading him on a deadly spiral into the unknown. Nature's fury, the unpredictable wrath of the sea and sky. The Bermuda Triangle, situated in a region known for its volatile weather patterns, has often been at the mercy of nature's fury. From sudden, violent storms to rogue waves capable of capsizing ships, the area has long been a proving ground for mariners and aviators alike. Many theories point to natural phenomena as the most likely culprits behind the disappearance of Flight 19. One possibility is that the flight encountered a microburst, a sudden localized downdraft of air that can generate winds comparable to a tornado. These unpredictable and powerful events can occur with little warning, their fury capable of ripping aircraft from the sky and sending them crashing into the sea. Another theory suggests that Flight 19 might have fallen victim to rogue waves, those towering walls of water that can appear seemingly out of nowhere. These monstrous waves, reaching heights of over 100 feet, can easily overwhelm even large vessels, leaving no trace behind. While rogue waves are relatively rare, the Bermuda Triangle's location and weather patterns make it a prime breeding ground for these maritime behemoths. The ocean itself, vast and unforgiving, also plays a crucial role in concealing the evidence of maritime disasters. Strong currents, deep-sea trenches, and the scavenging nature of marine life can quickly disperse wreckage and make it nearly impossible to locate the remains of ships or aircraft. Beyond the known, exploring the paranormal and unexplained. The Bermuda Triangle has long been a magnet for speculation about the paranormal and unexplained. From tales of magnetic anomalies to whispers of underwater civilizations and extraterrestrial intervention, the region has become a breeding ground for theories that defy conventional explanations. While often dismissed as the stuff of fiction, these ideas continue to capture the imagination, fueled by the enduring mystery surrounding the region. One persistent theory involves the concept of magnetic variations and compass errors. The Bermuda Triangle is one of only two places on Earth where true north and magnetic north align, potentially leading to compass malfunctions and navigational difficulties. While this phenomenon is well documented, its impact on the disappearance of Flight 19 remains a subject of debate. Other theories delve into the realm of the paranormal, suggesting that the Bermuda Triangle might be a portal to another dimension, a gateway to a realm where the laws of physics, as we know them, no longer apply. Some even speculate that the region is a hotbed of extraterrestrial activity, with UFOs using the area as a staging ground for their own mysterious purposes. While these theories lack concrete evidence and are often met with skepticism, they highlight the enduring human fascination with the unknown, the desire to find explanations that transcend the limitations of our current understanding. A mystery endures, the legacy of Flight 19 and the quest for answers. The disappearance of Flight 19 remains an enduring mystery, a chilling reminder of the power of the unknown. Despite numerous investigations, countless theories, and decades of speculation, the ultimate fate of those 14 men remains elusive, their story etched into the annals of maritime lore. The legacy of Flight 19 extends far beyond the realm of aviation history. It has become synonymous with the enigma of the Bermuda Triangle, fueling countless books, documentaries, and fictional accounts. The incident continues to capture the imagination, serving as a cautionary tale and a testament to the enduring power of mystery. While the passage of time may have dimmed the memories of those lost, the quest for answers continues. Researchers, scientists, and amateur sleuths alike continue to pore over the evidence, seeking new clues that might unlock the secrets of Flight 19 and shed light on the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. The ocean, vast and unforgiving, holds its secrets close. The enduring allure of the unknown. The tale of Flight 19, forever intertwined with the legend of the Bermuda Triangle, continues to captivate and intrigue us. It stands as a stark reminder of the fragile nature of human existence, of the vastness of the world we inhabit, and the mysteries that lie hidden beneath the surface of our understanding. The disappearance of those 14 men vanishing into the depths of a stormy sea continues to resonate, echoing through the decades, a haunting reminder of the unknown. The human mind, wired to seek patterns and explanations, grapples with the inexplicable. We strive to make sense of the chaos, to find reason amidst the randomness. Yet some events, like the vanishing of Flight 19, defy easy categorization. They linger in our collective consciousness, refusing to be forgotten, challenging our perceptions of reality, and reminding us that there are forces at play in the universe that we may never fully comprehend. The Bermuda Triangle, once dismissed as a mere figment of imagination or a product of sensationalized storytelling, has earned a place in our cultural lexicon. It has become a symbol of the unpredictable, the unknowable, a place where logic and reason seem to dissolve into the mist. It is a place that sparks our curiosity, ignites our imaginations, and reminds us that the world is full of wonders and terrors that lie beyond the realm of our everyday experience. The story of Flight 19, whether rooted in human error, natural disaster, or something more extraordinary, serves as a powerful reminder of our own mortality, of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown. It is a story that humbles us, reminding us that despite our technological advancements and our thirst for knowledge, there are still mysteries that elude our grasp, forces that we cannot control, and questions that may never be answered. The search for truth continues. While the official search for Flight 19 may have ended decades ago, the desire to uncover the truth, to bring closure to the families of those lost, and to solve the riddle of the Bermuda Triangle persists. Researchers, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a determination to separate fact from fiction, continue to explore the depths of this enduring mystery. Advanced technologies such as side-scan sonar, underwater remotely operated vehicles, and sophisticated computer modeling are being employed to map the ocean floor, search for wreckage, and analyze the environmental conditions that might have played a role in the disappearance of Flight 19 and other vessels lost in the region. Scientists, historians, and aviation experts continue to scrutinize the available evidence, from declassified military records and eyewitness accounts to meteorological data and oceanographic studies. They painstakingly piece together the puzzle, seeking new insights, challenging old assumptions, and striving to shed light on one of aviation history's most enduring enigmas. The mystery of Flight 19, far from being relegated to the dustbin of history, continues to serve as a catalyst for scientific inquiry, a challenge to our understanding of the natural world, and a testament to the enduring human spirit that seeks answers even in the face of the unknown. The search for truth is a journey without a guaranteed destination, but it is a journey worth taking, for it is in the pursuit of knowledge, in the relentless questioning of the world around us, that we truly grow, expanding our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit.